Hey guys, Dream Blender here. Today I'm going to show you how to make a simple stool in Blender today. Um, this is just for a simple scene or something like that. Maybe use it in animation, some props, something like that. I'm not going to show you how to make any fancy textures or anything like that for. We're just going to go with something simple for like maybe a cartoony animation. So open up Blender if you haven't got it open up already. You'll have your default cube here selected. Also, just to let you know ahead of time, I've got a script going to where you can actually see my actions and keys I use on the bottom left here. So if I right click, you can see right mouse pop up. Just to let you know ahead of time. So if you got a question on what key I hit or something like that, just look at the screen and most likely it'll be there to pop up. So you've got your default cube here. We're going to go into your modifications tab, which looks like a little wrench. Make sure you have your cube selected by right clicking on it. Hit add modifier, subdivision subsurf. Gonna pop that up to 3 for view and 4 for render. And then over here in your object tools, hit smooth. Zoom it on in. Tab to go into edit mode. S to scale, Z. Scale it on the Z axis. About there. Gonna add in a loop cut by hitting Control R. Left click to not acknowledge it. And then we're gonna drag it down to about there and left click again. Then I'm going to Control Tab to go into my face select mode, or you can select it down here. Select that bottom face, hit E to extrude, S to scale, just so slightly. That looks good to me. You just want to give it a little bit of, you want it to be flat on the bottom, but you also want it to give a little tiny bit of curve just to make it more realistic. I'm going to grab that top face and grab it down a little bit. Add in a loop cut down the center, Control R, left click to acknowledge, right click to center it, Control Tab to go into vertex mode, A to deselect everything, and B to box, and drag around them center vertices there. Also, to let you know ahead of time, if that didn't select the back ones, you might actually have this button right here, limit selection to visible. You might have that selected. So whatever you do, just make sure that you can see the background. If you don't see the background, hit that little button right there. Alright, I'm going to hit G to grab, Z on the Z axis, hold down shift to get only a little bit of movement at a time. Left click to acknowledge. You got a tiny bit of curve. Stools tend to, sometimes, not all, they have a dip in. You can either do your dip in or you can grab it along the Z and have it actually curved up, whatever you want. I actually think I like the curved up, maybe a little, no, I'm going to go with the curved down. Give her butt a little cushion. Alright, after you do that, we're going to deselect everything, and then we're going to go into top view and select this side and this side. We're going to hit S to scale and Y to scale along the Y axis. We're doing this because once we added that loop cut down the center, it actually made our circle look more, made it look longer rather than symmetrical and even all the way around. So we're just going to try to fix that by scaling these on the y-axis. That looks pretty round to me, maybe a little bit too much. Now it kind of looks like it's wide the other way. So I'll just tinker with this until you get it how you want it. That looks good. We're gonna go into front view. Now we're going to add in a new cube. These cubes are going to be the legs for our stool here. So Shift A, add mesh cube, edit mode, scale that down to about the roundness of a cube, or not a cube, but a stool. Hit add modifier. We're going to go with mirror, and we're going to add another modifier for subdivision subsurf. Bump it to 3 and 4 again. Alright, now we're going to zoom in pretty close here. We want to do these, both of these on the X and Y. We want to make sure every action is equal. That way your stool's 4 corners will be distributed evenly, and it's not like some are like they're really far off on the side but really close together on the other side. So I'm going to grab it on the X. Let's see, we'll say 0.3, and then go to side view, grab it along the Y, 0.3 again, but negative. Left click. Also go back in object mode and hit smooth over here to smooth out that. Back in edit mode, hit everything, hit A to select everything, and then we're going to grab it on the Z axis, about there. And then we're going to rotate it because your stools, they usually have a slanted up, look to them. They're not just straight down. So we're going to rotate it about, we'll say 15 degrees. And then go on front view, rotate 15 negative. Then I'm going to go into face select mode. You can either select it down here, or you can hit Control Tab and select face. Grab that bottom face, hit E to extrude. This actually might, I'm going to undo that, Control Z, zoom out a little bit so I can see it better. E to extrude. We're going to go with 2.25, and then add in a loop cut on that leg, Control R, left click and drag it down towards the bottom. You don't want to go right on the bottom, so if you got to zoom in, that's fine. Just really close to it. That way it rounds it off more. Alright, I think this is, oh, my bad. On your mirror, you actually want to select Y as well. This is actually way too much of a slant, so select everything and rotate. Let's see, actually, I'm going to go into vertex mode. Select this top, Shift S, selection to active. Okay, Shift S, selection or cursor to active. That way we're rotating around the center point for that leg. The top center point to be specific. And we're going to turn our rotation to 3D cursor. And then hit A to select everything, rotate. Ooh, so it's not going to be much. Maybe, let's try 2.2 degrees for now. See how that looks. Rotate 2.2 negative. That's still not enough for me. Rotate 2 negative. Rotate 2. I think that's probably, yeah, it's pretty good. That just seems really odd. Maybe our legs aren't long enough. Actually, let's just size this down some. So let's select your stool part. Hit A to select everything, S to scale, then X to scale along the X-axis. Also, select it back to median point for your pivot point. So scale that along the X-axis, and scale along the Y-axis. There we go, it's looking better. But now, I personally believe these are probably too far out. So A, GX, there we go. Let's say 0.05 negative. And remember, we're doing everything equally, so go to your side view and grab Y, 0.05. Also, your grabbing will be, the value will be negative or opposite on front view and side view. That looks pretty good to me. Let's see. Also, if you notice on stools, they have pegs between the legs, so that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to select my stool part, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then I'm going to hit Shift A, add mesh cube. Go in edit mode, scale it down, about there. Grab along the Z, and Going to add modifier, subdivision subsurf, 3 and 4 again, set smooth, add modifier mirror, and X is fine. Go into edit mode, grab along the X axis to where it's about center with that leg. Go into side view, hit S, Y, scale along the Y axis until it reaches inside of both. Just want to get it just in there. Then Control R to make a loop cut. Scroll your mouse wheel up once. Left click, SY, whoops, SY, there we go. And I personally think that's way too fat, so I'm going to go into edit mode, select everything, hit. Actually, yeah, okay. Select everything, we're going to scale on everything but the Y axis, so S and Shift Y. What this does, it's exactly what I said, it's going to scale everything on every axis but the Y axis. So get it to where it's a little bit thinner or skinnier. That looks pretty good to me. Alright, next we're going to add in another one. So you can either duplicate this and rotate it 90 degrees around your 3D cursor. Actually, since its center point is literally in the center, you can actually just duplicate. So Shift D, duplicate, and go into edit mode, unclick X and hit Y, select everything, rotate Z 90, but select 3D cursor. So rotate Z 90 negative. Go back into front view, you can change that back to the median point. GZ. I like that. Alright, gonna add it, move it up a little bit more though. Then also make sure that it's still inside. Still on X, that way we ain't gotta worry about any of it. To me, actually, that probably is a little too high, so I'm going to grab along the Z some and then move these over and scale them to where they actually go through all the way. Do these for each of them. There you go. Now I'm going to go to my camera and just, move your camera around however you want for your scene. Get a little something like that. Now select select each of these and make sure their materials are the same. Like if you select on this, you're gonna instead of add new, just click on the circle, select your material, and material. Yours will probably just say plain material. Mine says material 1, but don't worry about that. Once you got them all the same, we're going to our specularity. Gonna turn down the intensity, and then select your color palette for your diffuse, and just give yourself a nice wooden color. That looks pretty good to me. Go to your camera view and render it out. And there you go. Got yourself a nice little stool for your animations. You can use this, let's say, you want a still scene, maybe put something on it, a vase with some flowers, animate something like a character sitting on it, he's thinking or something, all of a sudden a spider drops down, he flips out, runs away, stool falls over, something like that. Do anything that you want. I hope you found this somewhat useful. It's not much. It's something really simple, but I hope you enjoyed. This is Dream Blender signing off. Thank you.